In Ram's Mandir, this kind of dacoity has taken. It's not theft, it is dacoity. Then they would suffer very badly at the hustings. For some reason, Delhi has taken this call, and without a word from the PMO, if I'm ready to believe that Champat Rai would not have stepped down. It is an open secret that Yogi and Champat Rai have never got along. And the one major reason was that Champat Rai ensured that Yogi Adityanath is not on the trust board. Because Yogi at the moment is on Delhi's target. And so Yogi will also move heaven and earth to see that the accusations being obliquely leveled against or Yogi being used as a pawn in this whole game, he would try to, and he's smart.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Investigation into the alleged embezzlement of donations at the Ram Temple in Ayodhya has gathered pace with the arrest of all 8 accused named in the FIR. Those arrested include the temple trust's cash counting staff, the head of the counting operation, a retired banker who supervised the process, and Ram Mandir Trust General Secretary Champat Rai's driver and close associate Rama Shankar Yadav alias Tinnu. Now, what we are coming to know is that after arresting Champat Rai's driver, Champat Rai has submitted his resignation. So has Anil Mishra. And these are big developments coming as far as the story around the Ram Temple theft is concerned. So is Delhi tightening the noose around Champat Rai? What can be the political ramifications? How will this play out? What happens to the Ram Temple Trust? Because there are lots of questions around the big land grabs which have happened. We saw Sanjay Singh going to the SIT office yesterday and submitting evidence along with a letter, a covering page, which had all the evidence of the land grabs which have happened. So what will it manifest into? We'll try and talk about this. Joining me this evening is Sharat Pradhan, veteran journalist, author, and political commentator. Thank you so much, Mr. Pradhan, for joining. And my first question to you is that are these confirmed reports that Champat Rai and Anil Mishra have resigned, sir?
Yeah. So it began as a rumor about 2 hours back. But in the last half an hour, there have been confirmations, though nobody is coming on record to say. But unofficially, they've admitted that, yes, and obviously they were told to resign. And this has come as quite a surprise, because so far what they had done was they had decided all those 8 people, they were smaller fries. And I felt that the big fish will eventually be let off. But for some reason, Delhi has taken this call, and without a word from the PMO, if I'm ready to believe that Champat Rai would not have stepped down, because he is Delhi's man, and that is the reason he had the kind of clout he enjoyed, was unparalleled, and he could get away with anything.
No, but Charaji, what do you think could have been the trigger for Delhi to ask Champat Rai to submit his resignation?
I think one could be that now that his driver and the guy who was supposed to be carting all the cash that was stolen from the temple every day, he was the guy who used to cart it somewhere. Nobody knows. So now that he is on the mat, there is a likelihood of his spilling the beans. So before he would spill the beans, I think they preempted that to show, I think largely it is a big drama, to show that Champat Rai is taking moral responsibility for it, so that in the in the longer as the case moves, and the matter may be raised also in the judiciary.
No,
So
but
then,
Shanti, do you think that this Champath Rai's driver who's arrested, his arrest also could have become a reason on how Delhi could have convinced Champath Rai to resign? That look, what if the driver spills beans? It'll be uncomfortable
you're
for you.
absolutely
It'll
right.
be
You're
uncomfortable
absolutely
for
right.
us.
That is
Yeah.
what has prompted Delhi to do this action, because I was told, and I am pretty convinced. I was pretty convinced about the fact that the people in Delhi, Champath Rai was there, man, and people in Delhi did not want Champath Rai to get hanged in this. And you would remember that Nripen Mishra, when he opened his mouth for the second time, initially he had washed his hands off. He had nothing to do with it because I am heading the construction committee. I don't know anything about the trust. But eventually, you know how he changed stance. And then he said, no, no, I'm looking into this. But let me tell you, these were his words. I can vouch for Champath Rai and nobody else. That again was whatever Nripen Mishra says has to be coming from none other than Mr. Modi or Amit Shah. So this shows that some churning is happening in Delhi, and for whatever reason they would not want that people of the country should get to know that there is some involvement or whatever. If the Prime Minister is keeping his mouth shut, Amit Shah not a word, but they want to show that at the end of the day they are allowing some heads to roll. So they would want to take credit for this. Look here, we are. मैं ना खाऊंगा ना मैं खाने दूंगा. Like I'm neither going to eat, not let you not eat, which is the Prime Minister's very favorite dialogue.
How does Yogi figure in this scheme of things? What is his reaction going to be now? Closely watching that Delhi has taken an iron hand over Champath Rai and forced him to resign. How will he respond, according to you?
That is a very good question, because it is an open secret that Yogi and Champath Rai have never got along, and one major reason was that Champath Rai ensured that Yogi Adityanath is not on the trust board. And Yogi always thought that being a saffron-clad sadhu, head of a huge mutt, there's every reason for it. And then being the chief minister, he ought to have been a member of the trust, but he was sidelined. And obviously, that is not Champath Rai's decision. It must have been Delhi's decision to keep him out. And I think must be very frustrating for Yogi Adityanath to be facing all this, and nothing is in his control. The only I think now he would find it difficult, because he was trying to in various ways convey that why is Champath Rai being let off. So now Delhi has preempted that also. See, now Yogi cannot accuse anybody at the center of shielding somebody who is in the eye of the storm and who should be answerable.
No, but Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, they are obviously not answerable to Yogi. That has shut those questions which Yogi may have asked them. But what happens in general to the story of Ram Temple theft, given the scale and the magnitude at which it has happened, it's just not about Champath Rai's resignation. But how do you think that this story is going to unfold politically now? And do you think that the story ends only with Champath Rai and Anil Mishra's resignation?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. This is Delhi's way of giving the impression that they are looking at it very objectively, and they have no biases. Their main focus is on the chori. But I'm pretty sure that they will move heaven and earth to ensure that somehow they don't get any such accusation of shielding anyone. And if that is the case, they will be able to, because they know how hard it's going to hit them at the elections. If people get convinced that the entire government, right from Lucknow to Delhi, I mean, it is immaterial for common people to be thinking in terms of the feud that is going on between Yogi and the Delhi Walas. But if they get this impression that in Ram's Mandir, this kind of dacoity has taken, it's not theft, it is dacoity, then they would suffer very badly at the hustings, because people are not going to, how the people in this country, they turn, and how emotional they have been about the Ram temple. And to Delhi wants to present itself as a very clean, objective, fair, unbiased, which is in which that is how these movements. And I think they they will still try to, somehow protect Champat Rai. There are so many ways of doing that. At the moment, you don't know what's going to happen, whether Delhi will entrust this inquiry. Ideally, ED should be in doing something here, because there's a lot of money laundering involved. So now it depends on Delhi, CBI. But something big is going to certainly happen now. But I would still believe that Delhi will very discreetly protect Champat Rai, because he knows too much. He knows too much.
Right. So you were saying that something big will happen. Now, can there be something bigger than Champat Rai's resignation?
Yeah. If the case is entrusted to CBI or ED, then it's going. That's certainly a bigger thing. And center will say ki dekhiye, na khaunga na khane dunga. I have always said that. Modi will say. So we are going to have a fair inquiry, irrespective of who is involved. We'll hang people, and they will do that. For instance, there could be action against some bureaucrats. The district magistrate is an ex officio member of the trust. So these are things which should have been monitored by the district magistrate. We have seen how the earlier district magistrates were also involved as much as these netas in the land scams, purchasing of land and reselling of land. Then UP Home Secretary, who's also principal additional chief secretary to the chief minister. Now these are the two people, officials, government high officials, who are a member of the trust. And Delhi could do it, because if they have to, if their game plan is to settle scores with Yogi at this point of time, so they could take some action against his bureaucrats. But they will certainly try to protect, without being seen, without being allowing it to be visible, the main guy, Champat Rai.
But if you look at the things from the perspective of the Ram devotees, it almost seems that their devotion was violated in terms of the fact that the people who were responsible and who were at the helm of affairs, they didn't take care of the Ram temple the way it should have been. Now, in terms of the political narrative which BJP and the opposition both will pull out, what is it going to be? BJP, of course, will pat its back, saying that, no, look, we are so neutral. We can pull up our own people, and that is what is going to happen. And the opposition will say that it is due to their pressure that BJP asked their own man to resign. How will it unfold politically? And also from the point of view of the Ram devotees, how is this story going to play out?
No, it's extremely important for the opposition to be really taking this message down. And are they in a position to do that? Because with the mainstream media, totally, for a change, of course, I'm quite surprised that the mainstream media started talking about the chori. As a second thought, you would remember that right in the beginning, when this thing came to light, there was not a word on in the entire Godi media. But now all the channels are highlighting this fact that this has happened. Even Champat Rai's story was instantly flashed on so which shows that and these channels don't work without getting their the word from where it matters, and people are PMO, and so that further convinces me that this game, the whole game, is designed, and at the same time it also serves their purpose, which is the cases like Mohan Yadav's. Now Mohan Yadav is again a handpicked man of Prime Minister Modi, and there is so much already out in the public domain about him, about his corruption. if the Mandir is highlighted on the mainstream channels, and people close to the Prime Minister are being now targeted, now being roped into this whole gambit, it is very obvious that there is the Delhi walas are keen to give this impression, at least, that they are neutral and they are not sparing anybody. But now, how it Yogi is going to react is going to be very interesting, because, after all, this feud between Delhi and Lucknow is now out in the open.
Right.
So how it
But
yeah.
also, there are lots of evidence which Sanjay Singh also walked into the SIT office yesterday, submitting evidence to the SIT head. What happens to those things on which the investigation is underway? Like of course, one is the Danpatra theft, the donation theft which has happened where people have walked away with cash and jewelry. But what about the big story around the land grabs which have happened in dime and dozens? How will that be investigated?
I don't think SI, in the terms of reference, there is anything about the land scam before the SIT. So for all you know, that whatever documents have been submitted, they will just gather dust in their office, because their focus is right now on the donations. And what a smart way of doing it. SIT, from day one, I always thought this has been constituted essentially to get a tailor-made report and to give clean chit to certain people whom they want. So, and SIT has no mention of Champat Rai, yet he's been told to resign. So everything is being masterminded by Delhi, and how much they are able to make put Yogi Adityanath at the receiving end. It will be very interesting to watch. The next 1 or 2 days are going to be really volatile.
Right. And as we speak, all the mainstream news channels and the news websites have already started reporting that Champat Rai and Anil Mishra resigned from the Ram Temple Trust, and 8 arrested in donation theft case. Now, I also want to talk to you, Sharatji, about the cleansing of the Ram Temple Trust. Now, this was a trust which was formed with a lot of faith. There were a lot of expectations, but what we saw in Rupendra Mishra while speaking to the media the other day, he said that, we need a system like that of a Tirupati or a Vatican. What about the overhauling of the Ram Temple Trust? How is that going to take place? And also the big question around Rupendra Mishra. Where is he in the scheme of things which are happening? Is he absolved? Has he given himself a clean chit? How do we assume? And there is no
as far as he is concerned, you can see right in the beginning, he tried to wash his hands off by saying that I have nothing to do with the Temple Trust. I'm only heading the construction committee, which was, according to me, it was bullshit. Because somebody like him, he's a 1967 batch IS officer who's held the highest bureaucratic position in the country, having been the most powerful bureaucrat. And thereafter also, now he's 80 plus. And he continues to function. He's chairman of something there in Delhi, and then he's head of this construction committee. There was a time when he was really rated as a very honest, upright, and bright officer. And I've known him from those days. He used to be Mulayam Singh's principal secretary as chief minister. And ironically, the firing that took place in Ayodhya, he was calling the shots. So now today, when he behaves in such a sheepish manner, initially he tried to wash his hands off. Then, when the matter went viral and the social media started raising a lot of questions, it was then that he came out with this thing. Look here, there should be this kind of a trust and that kind of a trust. It should be Tirupati model. There should be a CEO. Then again, people started wondering, because bureaucrats usually mention these things when they are interested in grabbing another position for themselves. But I don't think at this age he could become CEO of that. But maybe Delhi has somebody in mind, another trusted bhakt kind of bureaucrat who could be made CEO. And yes, will be restructuring of the trust. In any case, this trust was formed at the behest of the Supreme Court, because Supreme Court has ordered that you form a trust, and the government, instead of making it a broad-based trust, they limited it to only RSS people. There were only RSS guys there.
Wasn't the reason what we saw, the 2024 elections were around the corner, And so in the hurry burry of constructing the temple, they actually didn't focus too much on the coordinates and the basic structure of what the Ram Temple Trust should be. So basically they must have avoided all that.
Because there the reason was very simple. Modi was in a rush. Whoever might have advised him, or maybe it was his own brainchild, that we will make use of this temple in this election. That is why an incomplete mandir was inaugurated, much to the chagrin of all these Shankaracharyas. All the Shankaracharyas opposed it, and they said that it's a bad omen to be inaugurating an incomplete temple. And you know what happened, that the one of the two pandits who were called, first of all, when the Pran Pratishtha took place, there were hundreds of sadhus who are in Faizabad, and they are held in very high in the Hindu order. They are rated very high, but they were just sitting like mute spectators. Modi preferred to call a very average level pandit from Banaras and from Mathura to carry out the ritual. And one of them died soon after the Pran Pratishtha, which I was told by somebody in Varanasi today. And that was seen as a bad omen, that look here, this guy this guy performed the puja for an incomplete temple. I mean, this is kind of superstition that people have. And they were trying to attribute it to this. So, but Modi was in a hurry. He wanted to just go ahead. He thought it would give him the kind of political dividends. But sadly, at least as far as UP was concerned, the tables were turned against him, and they fell down by more than 20 seats. So but they will still try to. They are too smart, and 24/7 they have elections in mind, and they can't afford to miss out anything in the 20s before the 27 elections. They will again try to and the opposition in any case is being dismissed by them emphasizing that, look here, these guys were against the temple. This guy's father ordered firing. The Congress hired the best lawyers to prove. It is all lies, because Congress never did anything to push that. After all, anybody who's a party in a political in a judicial debate or the judicial case, so somebody has to hire a lawyer. And just because you hire a lawyer, you are being accused. Look here, you didn't want the temple to be built. So they will try to, you will soon find that opposition is so that the opposition's word is not the common people, the Ram Bhakts don't believe disbelieve the opposition. Right. And now it is up to the opposition. How are they go to town? They convince common people that, look here, your devotion for Ram has been violated by these people. There could be nothing more heinous and immoral than looting the wealth of a temple named after Ram, who has brought.
Do you think that Yogi is now on a credit-taking mission, that because of his recommendations? Because I'm seeing India TV's website, and it says that speaking at an event in Devariya, the two-time chief minister and the Uttar Pradesh government had constituted a SIT to probe the alleged embezzlement of the Ram Temple donations, adding that action had already been initiated on the basis of its recommendations, including the arrest of 8 accused. Then he asserted that no one would be allowed to hurt the sentiments of the followers of Sanatan Dharma. He also accused the opposition parties of politicizing the issue, claiming that those raising questions were the same people who had opposed the construction. So the point is, that is Yogi trying to take credit?
Yeah, certainly. Because Yogi at the moment is on Delhi's target. And so Yogi will also move heaven and earth to see that the accusations being obliquely leveled against, or Yogi being used as a pawn in this whole game, he would try to, and he's smart. Yogi is also as smart as the Delhi guys. He wouldn't let them get away with the kind of campaign which is going on the mainstream media, which is indirectly directed against Yogi.
No, but this also makes Yogi's position very tricky because he almost seems to be siding with what the opposition is saying in his feud with the Delhi, which is playing out between PMO and
Absolutely.
Yogi.
Yeah. You absolutely. He's in a Yogi. I think is in a very tight corner at the moment. And despite not being involved in the chori, but the manner in which I think in the next few days you will find that Yogi will be targeted via his bureaucrats who were responsible, who ought to have seen this, overseen this. They can't get away. So there will be some action, and the moment any action is taken against Yogi's bureaucrat, the Yogi himself will not be able to absolve himself of responsibility. Because when it comes to moral responsibility, they can always say that, look here, we've taken the moral responsibility to do this and that.
No, but Sharatji, if I talk about Champat Rai's resignation, do you think that this resignation is really to be seen very seriously? Or does it look like a cover up or a wishy washy exercise? But behind the back, Champat Rai will be compensated very well, even if he has resigned right now.
You are absolutely right. At the moment, it is aimed at silencing those people who were raising fingers on Champat Rai. So for the time being, that can really they will buy time to see that that the accusation doesn't stick on Champat Rai. So because now it will be said, yeah, look here, this guy is responsible enough. He's taken moral responsibility. He was not supposed to be. He is not the guy who's counting notes. But again, how it's going to be a tricky task even for the center. But considering the fact that he is their man, they would like to, till it is possible, they would like to, and this say, because if the accusation is proved against Champat Rai, then Delhi will be made to then make more answerable than today. And I think Yogi Adityanath will want to do that. So it's going to be very interesting, and politics has been played from both the sides. So sometimes I often
What
wonder
about
if the
we've not been able to speak about much about Anil Mishra. What happens to him now? Now he's an RSS man. What does it go to show as far as the connections between BJP and RSS are concerned in this entire gamut of the Ram Temple theft?
the Delhi Modi Shah team would not mind taking I would say training their guns even at the RSS, because they have no love lost for RSS. They would want to just protect themselves. And even if the blame came right, RSS man who has done this, we've ensured that he resigns. And once they start investigating in the real sense investigation, Anil Mishra and Champat Rai and Gopal Rao, the kind of land holdings they have acquired in their name or in Benami names or in the names of their families is enormous. So their wealth, they cannot is good enough reason for them to get prosecuted. How and Delhi would not mind getting RSS guys hanged, because then RSS also comes under their, Modi is always dominated over the RSS so far. And
Yeah.
RSS thinks that they are too big and no prime minister can go. So already there was some internal this thing going on between Tussle going on between him. So this will give them, and again, Modi a chance to bring RSS under its thumb.
But
Look here, you
what
will get a
about the
bad
other
name.
bureaucrats? You said that some bureaucrats also might be phased out. Any particular names you have in mind who could be shut
No,
down?
again, the district magistrate is by virtue of office. He is a member of the trust, and it is his legal and moral duty to have overseen these kind of. And I am not ready to believe that he had no whiff of what was going on inside the temple when he's sitting right there in Faizabad. He ought to have. If he didn't do it, then he was not doing his job. Because by being a simple member of the trust and being the district magistrate of that place, you can't plead ignorance and innocence.
It's quite interesting, Sharatji, that till yesterday we were saying that, and all the news channels and the news platforms are saying that come what may, but Champat Rai will not resign, and he will not resign, he will get away. But the inevitable has happened. But does it make, and this is my last question to you, that does it make the Ram Temple theft story curiouser and curiouser now? With Champat Rai's resignation, do we expect some more skeletons to tumble out of the cupboard? Or on the investigation front and on the political front, are we going to see some fresh and newer developments?
Certainly, because this is not going to end here. They will, the Delhi Walas would certainly want the chapter to get close with the resignation of Champat Rai, because he was in the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. I'm sure opposition is not going to sit pretty over this and say, okay.
And I'm sure opposition and also Yogi will ensure that the heat remains.
Yeah. Yogi will want the heat to remain, because ultimately, so as a matter of fact, in a way, it is Yogi's victory that Champat Rai has been compelled to resign. So now how it plays out, the Delhi Wala is very unpredictable. How they have it out with Yogi Adityanath is going to be really interesting and give a new turn to the politics of not only Uttar Pradesh, the country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sharatji, for joining on HW News. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.